Alright then everybody, this is Yara here, and we got a top 32 player here at the Dallas Fort Worth Regionals, Zachy. You may have seen him on the channel a couple of times before. He's gotten multiple first place placements at our local, so he's a pretty good player. So he's gonna be showcasing his what would you call this deck? What would you call
It's just like Sunavalon, or I guess Plant Good Stuff pile.
Sunavalon? Okay, all right. So you're definitely gonna have to explain to me like what this deck does, because I haven't seen what this deck does. Like I haven't seen it in action. All I know is that it can combo through like a lot of hand traps, and like it can set up a pretty good board. So yeah, like I guess before we get started, do you have any shout outs or anything you want to say?
I'll shout out everyone at the locals GM. Definitely, you know, my favorite locals at all of Texas.
Yeah.
Um, I'll shout out you, Yada.
Thank you.
And I'll shout out Christian, Rudy, and yeah, because they drove me here. They drove me to the regional. So
Sounds
I think
good.
that's it.
All right, yeah, and just keep in mind that there were like more than 500 players at these regionals, so it was a lot. It was
505.
yeah, 505. So it was pretty. We had like a lot of like great players there. So yeah, I guess if you want, you can do the deck rundown then.
So this is not very organized. So we got Laurel. I guess I'll just start with the engines themselves. We run the Brave engine in here, so it's 3 right, 1 foolish, 1 faithful, 1 Draco back, the 3 enchantress, the 1 griffin. They're great in this deck because your normal summon doesn't matter. It's just like the normal monster, and that doesn't activate any effects. Only time it ever conflicts is if you got Lone Fire Blossom as your only starter. Then it could cause problems, but like you can usually combo through. And then we run the Therion engine, which is why this deck is good, and it can play through multiple hand traps. So it's just the 3 Lily, the 1 Regulus, and the 1 Field spell. The Discolosseum, this card, no one really reads, so a lot of the times it saved me by using its destruction effect to add or whatever. And then I run the Crossout package, so it's just 3 Crossout and 2 Ash, 1 so, because there was so much Despia up there, I didn't want to, like, just get rid of my only Ash, so I couldn't Ash anything, so it's a little weird, but it works. 1 Droll, because Droll hurts this deck, and it also hurts other decks, especially Despia, maybe the Allure build, mostly. 1 Veiler, 1 Bell. Bell didn't come up at the regional as much as all the other stuff did. Nib, just in case they're main decking it, because this deck loses to it. And then Imperm. Imperm is not good in this build, the Rika build specifically, because all your spell and trap zones are filled up, so you can't set something like Droplet or Imperm. So Imperm just becomes a discard or cross-out target. And then 1 Called By, it's basically another cross-out. And then we'll get to the starters. It's going to be the 3 Loci, the 3 Painful Decision, the MVP, because you draw this and you draw the Lily, it becomes you get an Omni Negate before you normal summon, which is just crazy. We got, where is it? The 3 Unexpected Die. This is the best starter in your deck, hands down. You can full combo and do like your entire plays without committing your normal summon. So if you get nibbed, you get hand trapped, you can just normal summon your Loci, restart your combo, and that's what makes this deck really good. We have Small World. It's a pseudo starter. That's why we're playing 1 Lone Fire, because anything into Lone Fire equals anything in this deck. It's crazy, these lines. You could get to literally any card you want in your deck. This one, this one, this one. Just because of, how many similarities there are without, like, overdoing it. Oh yeah, another part of the Therion package is Rose Paladin. It says discard and add a level 7 or higher plant monster to your hand. It's a warrior, so you can't just add the Therion, activate the Therion, search the Regulus. But it saved me a bunch, because a lot of the times I didn't even search the Therion. I just searched Snowdrop, and that let me continue with my combo because I had something like Mardell in hand, so I could just tribute a plant, special summon, and it ended up like adding me something useful. And then I guess the main combo pieces, we got 2 Sowing, not 3. You don't really want to draw it, But if your Dryas gets hand trapped, which is what everyone's gonna hand trap because it's like a big part of your combo. If you draw it, it's fine. And then Shrine, we played at 1. You can play it at 2 if you really want to extra link your opponent. And that's what got me into the deck because it could extra link, which I found really funny. 1-for-1 is also a starter. Probably the best thing you could draw with the Water Enchantress because everyone knows that. We run 1 Mardell and then 1 Laurel. A lot of the times you don't even go into Mardell. Usually the combo is, you get to the Aromage with something under it, you tribute, and you summon Laurel, because the Therion usually acts as another body. But if you're trying to set up the Therion before you commit to your normal summon, because your hand could do that, you go Mardell to get an extra body on the board, so you can continue with the full combo. Let's see what other combo pieces. And then Bloom, most of your combos always end on Bloom. It's just a big imperm, and then it gives your plant-like monsters a whole lot of attack. You can, just with regular combo and good placement, your Bega Lancer can get up to 88,000 attack. Or not 88,000, but 8,800 attack, which is pretty good. Wow. It can get over most things, and unaffected monsters become not that big of a problem. We got the Rika package, which is just Snowdrop, Mudan, and Sheet. Some people don't run the Mudan and Sheet, but Snowdrop is usually a staple in the deck. The Mudan and Sheet, just, you can add them throughout your combo. And you would usually trade Dracoback for this card. As in, you don't activate Dracoback's effect when you discard it, you just, keep this. Because all your spawn trap zones are filled up, not counting the Dracoback. And this is just like a snatch steal by tripping a plant, or it can target a face up to stop something from activating. So it's just pretty crazy. And then consistency cards, we got Triple T, because this deck gets hand trapped a lot, and it's pretty crazy. When you just Triple T, hand rip, and you full combo anyways. Droplet for going second. Like I said, you don't want to use up your spawn trap zones for something like Droplet, but this deck has good discards. You discard the Therion to attach to the king, or you discard some cards you don't need because you already have your starter. And then you just negate their board and you pop off, which is pretty crazy. Rhoda can search the Paladin, it's just another name of it. Let's see, anything I didn't cover? No, I think that's everything for the main deck.
Alright. I'm assuming you're running 60 cards because you can run a lot of hand traps and you can run triple cross-out designator, right? Is that why you decided to go with 60?
Originally my list was 50, but last minute, I decided to go to 60 because I wasn't playing the cross-out package at the time. And I was doing a lot of playtesting, and I realized this deck really sucks against hand traps. I really needed something to play through it. And because of the Brave Engine here, anyone also playing the Brave Engine would get crossed out. But sadly, I didn't play against anyone playing the Brave Engine. I played against the Phantom Knight, so I could hit them. It just never came up. But crossout itself saved me 90% of my games. I think every single one of my games, I got hand trapped and crossout hit something, and that would let me keep playing. I was never able to cross out a card that wasn't hand trapped though.
Alright, and then I guess we can go with the side deck then, if you want. Yeah,
side deck's pretty interesting. It's just completing the hand trap lineup. 1 Ash, Despia, 2 Droll because Despia, Flunder, and maybe even the Mirror Match. 2 Valor because it's crazy. 2 Nib because it's crazy. 3 Cosmic. This deck doesn't do very well against spawn trap decks, but 3 Cosmic was all I had on me at the time. 2 Dark Ruler. These are flex spots. I never put this in. It didn't matter because I had Droplet, and I never went against a deck that made too much of a board that Droplet or that Dark Ruler would hurt. And then the best card in my side deck, 3 Regeki. I can't believe this card came to 3. This card is so crazy. There's so many boards I just they didn't set up an Omni Negate. It was Sword Soul, they put up Shizhao and then the Sovereign. And I just Regeki them, and then they just had Blackout set, and they couldn't do anything. So I just popped off OTK'd. This deck can really OTK. because of this card, the Thrasher.
Oh,
It gets boosted to a lot.
yeah.
And
I looked at your side deck and it caught my attention that I'm like, oh, he's like side decking triple Raigeki. Well, it makes sense now that I think about it. Like you mentioned, like a lot of the popular decks nowadays, they don't set up like multiple Omni negates.
and
Um,
yeah, if Regeki tries to get negated, you just chain Droplet and hit something. You're always drawing your Droplet and Regeki. I know I did.
and it's good versus the Flunderees matchup as well, right? Because they don't set up any Omni
Yeah.
negates for the most part.
Usually they don't end their board with Omni Negate, and once you wipe like the barrier statue, their M pen, all they have is their they could get up Apex Avian and then or Apex Avian and M pen, or what's that card called? Ryza.
Yeah.
But that's usually it. It's just that set of interaction, and then you're just free to pop off. We can move down to the extra deck.
Okay.
So with the like core cards, you go 3 Dryas because it's your starter. It's crazy. This is what everyone will hand trap. It's the right thing to hand trap, but it's crazy. It's not once per turn. Multiple of the Sunavalon cards are not once per turn. That's what makes them so insane. And then we have the Jasmine. These cards are also crazy. Like, it just says free search, a soft once per turn. It combos so with Laurel when you summon it off the affected Jasmine. And you get 2 searches. Usually you search your Snowdrop and your Therion if you didn't already get it. And it just, you put up a Omni Negate, and then you have free. And then if they nib you there before you get your Omni Negate out, you just, like, okay, Snowdrop effect tribute, summon another plant from hand, still make, your XYZ and at least your XYZ. And then with anything else in hand, you can combo further. Then we have Melius. Melius is another crazy card. It's a non-once per turn reborn for the normal. I play 3 just in case I need an extra link. I extra linked ABC Therion, which I thought was really funny. It was just BMing at that point. I already won the match. Or not, I didn't win the match, but I won the game that, gave me the match. And then 2 healer. 2 healer because you go through the second during your combo to get a third ad, which you add Mudan with. It's not necessary, but if you're running the Rika package, you probably want to run a second. Or you could play a Real Mage Angeli or Angelica. And then 1 Thrasher because it lets you OTK very easily. I think the card is crazy, especially when combined with Bloom. Or it does, yeah, it hits that. 1 Dance Pine. This card I love and hate it. One time, or in the regional 1 match, it milled insane. It was Enchantress, not Snowdrop. Yeah, it was Snowdrop. And then it also hit the Mudan, which was amazing. So Mudan special summoned, added the spell. Snowdrop special summoned, and that allowed me to go into the XYZ. And then the War Enchantress milled for next turn because I already activated the Brave package. So I could get that started too. And so it was just insane what this card did. And then every other time I resolved this card, it did absolutely nothing. I milled 3 unexpected die small rolled and shrine, and it just achieved nothing. You got the 1 Bagel Lancer. I don't know how to say this card. I'll just call it Bagel Lancer. Mm-hmm. This card is great. It's recursion effect, recurring it from grave. Really helps a lot if you need to manage your zones and resources. It makes it so it's not just you made a 10 or you made a 4 and it just achieved nothing because you'd rather go for the XYZ or whatever. And then sometimes I ended on Dryas with this, so I could just gain back the life and then summon something like Thrasher to target something else and gain. So I was really paying nothing. It was just mainly if I went to time with this deck. This deck goes crazy in time because by the end of your turn, you're at 90, 98, I think.
Wow.
And so you just have a bunch of interruptions to stop your opponent from doing anything. The Link 4 for Sunavalon. This card, it's just fodder for Link after you summon it. It just adds Bloom from your deck to hand. Sometimes I don't go into it, but usually with the main combo, it just happens. And then the Rika XYZ. I spent so much money on this card, and I regret none of it. This card saved me so many times because I like top decked the Snowdrop, summoned it summoned something else, and this card won me games because it put up too much for my opponent to handle. Um, yeah, that's it for the extra deck.
All right. Yeah. So like, um, I see this deck going under the radar. Like I almost never see it on like anybody's like top five. And like based on what you've been telling me about it, it's pretty insane. Like so like where would you rate this? Like if we're talking like would you say this is like one of the best decks of the format or the best deck of the format? Like where would you put this deck?
That's difficult for me to say.
Mm-hmm.
There's been like a lot of figuring this deck out. I'll give a shout out to the Sunavalon Discord server. There are some geniuses on there. That's where I've got most of my combos and tech ideas. But so like they've been working on it, trying to figure the deck out. I've been trying to think of my own spice, and there's not much I can think of that they haven't figured out. I wouldn't call it best deck. Maybe not even tier 1. Probably not tier 1. Probably just pretty high tier 2. Like the place Prankits held before Meow Meow got hit. Just really high tier 2 that could really compete. I think this deck falls under the same category. Just because of, its consistency and the ability to play through multiple hand traps just because you have so much engine. But the deck kind of suffers against something like Despia, where they put up the 2 Mirror Jade banishes, the Guarding Pops, and then the Masquerade. Masquerade is just horrible against the deck because you activate so many effects, you can't go through your combo with just one Masquerade on the field. And then the Mirror Jade banish, it just, if they keep hitting your normal monster, it's just, you can't really play after that. Sure, you can make a board, but like they have so much recursion and follow up that you're not going to be able to win that match. That's what happened against another Despia player I lost to. That was my one of two losses. So that it definitely struggles against.
Gotcha. So would you say you have like your worst matchup is Despia? You have like an easier time against like the Flunderies or the Sword Soul?
Hmm. I haven't done enough testing with the deck to say something about Flunder. Sword Soul, I played it twice. I lost to one, but that's because I drew really bad. I won against the other. I was able to just out-resource them and break their board and, build a board in the first place. Flew Under, they drew bad game 1. Game 2, they drew Shifter. Game 3, they drew Shifter. But I was able to play through it just because of what I had in hand and the interruptions I was able to set up. I drew into an Imperm and just had to set it, and I was able to Imperm their 1-card Robina, which got me lucky. I don't think it has too bad of matchups. It's pretty versatile. There's not many decks that can play through its entire board. Like, you have to top deck Regeki, Droplet. Regeki doesn't even help because Sowing has Graveyard Protection. No, there's not much like a bunch of the top decks can do against it. When they're going second, but going first, it's just not as good. Flew Under is definitely a horrible matchup just because of how many link-based effects we have. But we can usually out the stuff pretty early because of our, going second cards.
Yeah, like it's funny. It's funny that you hopped on this deck because this is like when you were talking about it, the way I see it is like very similar to what like Prankits was last format, right? Where like 1-card combo and like it's funny that you gravitated towards it because it's like your play style, like setting up an entire board with like 1 card and like is that what like brought you to the deck? That it was like a similar play style?
I started like trying to get into the deck a couple months ago because of the thing it could extra link so easily because I thought that was funny. And then, I think maybe 2 weeks ago, I actually started to try maybe it wasn't 2 weeks ago, but like I actually started to commit to the deck and really try and play it and like play IRL. And then Prankied got hit because that was the deck I played at the time, and I was just so devastated because I didn't have any other deck I was confident enough to play that was consistent like Pranked was. And then like I realized this deck kind of filled the same purpose, and it's just, I've said it many times, this deck feels like it is Pranked just because of the Brave engine and then the 1-card starters and how you just kind of pop off. I dare say it makes a better board than Pranked. Maybe not. Maybe it is a better deck than Pranked. That's just a difficult thing for me to say because of how long I play Pranked. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll have to test it out a little more.
Yeah, because like the 1-card starters, you play the Brave package, and then like you also gain life. So, like a lot of similarities in it. And like, it just sucks that Verte and Meow Meow got hit. Like it's like a double hit. They were really gunning after your Pranked.
I was fine with Verte being hit. I think that's a healthy hit for the game.
Yeah.
But I don't think Meow Meow should have got hit. I think Verte was enough of a hit to the deck, and they should just like hit Brave or whatever. But they're not going to do that. They can still make money off Brave.
Yeah.
Without Verte, Pranked would definitely they would cut DPE. So it would just be Brave kids, and that's a whole lot less powerful than DPE Brave kids.
Yeah.
Just because of the recursion DPE gave, and like the Pranked capitalized on that so much. So it's just one Omnigate and one board wipe instead of all of that. I think Verte was just enough of a hit, and I was gonna play Salad for the regional because I have Salad, but with Verte being hit, I couldn't play Brave DPE Salad.
Yeah.
I realized there was just no point. So I ended up like dropping that idea, and I went to this, which I'm very, very happy about. I got my invite, got top 32. I got bragging rights.
Yeah, exactly. I when you told me, hey, you need to get my deck profile at the end of the tournament, like you told me this like at the, like right in the morning, right before any round started. I was like, what is he playing? Like I didn't even know what you were playing at the time. And then like you told me later, like, oh, it was Sunavalon. I'm like, oh, that's crazy. I didn't expect you, but now it all makes sense. Now that you like ran over the deck with me, I'm like, okay, it makes sense that you're playing this deck.
I didn't even realize how similar it was to Prank Kids at the start, but like, as a couple of the guys I was with pointed it out, they were like, "Man, your 1-card combos, it's just Prank Kids too." And I realized that this was probably the perfect deck then.
Yeah. So, all right then, Zachy. That was an awesome deck profile. I don't know if you have any closing statements or anything you want to say before we wrap up the deck profile.
I guess not. I don't think this is the best deck, but it's definitely really fun and can. I guess it's the same as like Therion ABC, where it can, scrub out a few games, or not scrub out, but like steal a few games from the top meta, but it won't, win an entire event. Like, won't win a YCS. And speaking of like what I played against, I'll mention my matchups. It was I only lost twice. Went X2. It was pretty good for my first regional. It was Speedroid, Despia, Phantom Knight, Despia, Dragons, Sword Soul, ABC Therion, Floowandereeze, and then Sword Soul. I won all of those matches besides Game 4 against Despia and Game 6 against Sword Soul.
Okay. All right. And so, I'm just wondering, did you 2-0 your Floowandereeze matchup, or was it like a 2-1?
Do
you remember?
I think it was 2-1.
Oh, okay.
But I think it was like I drew bad at one point. I don't entirely remember.
Okay. All right.
But I know I did like 2-0 5 of my opponents.
Oh.
So yeah, the only ones I lost, the only ones I went to game 3 with were the people I lost against, ABC Therion, and then the Dragons player. All the other ones I 2-0'd.
Nice. Just showcasing the power of Sunavalon. So.
Yeah.
All right.
I
Then,
just
Zach.
think post side this deck is crazy.
Yeah, I bet with all the going second cards that you can run, basically
Yeah.
all 15 going second cards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So. All right, Zach. Thank you so much for being here on the channel once again. So.
Thank you
Um.
for the publicity.
All right then. Take care. Bye
You
bye.
too.